I should really be recording at this point.
What? Brian didn't hit the record button?
No, I waited and I went over the agenda for one.
Oh, well, that's smart.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, so we're at episode 159 of our main episodes.
The main episodes.
That's 59 episodes for us. Time flies.
What is that? 5 years?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be coming up on 5 full years. Wow. The Michigan GT.
Yeah, the Michigan GT will be 5 years.
Gotta make sure I put that on the agenda.
What agenda?
I knew there was something that didn't make it on the list that I was gonna forget to talk about, but yeah, got that in place.
Yay!
With just enough time yet to do one last rah go sign up.
Before, yeah, actually, that would be this one.
Yeah, this
episode's the whole
last one before the Michigan GT.
But hey, first, this is Deadzone the podcast.
Deadzone the podcast.
Yeah, you know that podcast we've been doing for 5 years.
Oh yeah, and I'm Brian.
I'm Rick.
Welcome to the Deadzone podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop.
Welcome to Deadzone the podcast.
Welcome.
Yes. Good times. So, we have a pretty full episode already lined up for you guys. So
lots of news.
Lots of news. So let's hop right into it, shall we? First thing on the news we thought worth bringing up is that Halo Flashpoint pre-orders for stock lists are going out kind of presently as the time of this recording. In fact, I think it's a little bit ago, and so that's giving you the heads up that Halo is going to be hitting store shelves around October. So it's coming right around the corner. So make sure you've got all your Deadzone terrain built up and ready to go to play some Halo. I was actually at there's a little like war game nights at Excel Hobbies, where we're kind of my local store right now, and they were playing. The store owners were playing their copy of Halo while we were playing Deadzone.
Nice, very nice.
So, yeah, excited to see that one hit the tabletop.
Oh yeah.
I know, like one thing, talking to other folks and listening to other podcasts on such as Countercharge, talking about gearing up for Adepticon already and like the plans thereof. Halo is probably going to be U.S.
tournament's probably going to be a thing.
Probably a pretty big thing is what here they're really hoping for. So we will do our part to support that and make that event huge and successful, because it's an awesome little game, and it's just another feather in the cap for Mantic. So great on them, and can't wait to get our hands on the game. I know I'll be picking mine up through my local store. So yeah,
that was the most entertaining part. Gen Con was watching Rachel with Halo. Somebody would say something where it's like, yeah, you just do this. And one of the guys looked at her. It's like, how do you know that? It's like, she's been around for a bit.
Yep. All right. So that's your little bit of Halo news. But we're here to talk about sci-fi. More to come indeed. So we talked about it at the end of last month, kind of throughout, in between these episodes, was the Mantic's My Mini Factory Frontiers campaign.
Yes.
I said it right this time.
Yay.
It was funny because people were going back and saying, "Is like, well, I don't know if you really needed to correct yourself since because I did a little snippet, like I edited the video to say that I needed to correct myself, and turns out we only said it like wrong once or twice." But anyway, the Frontiers campaign I think was pretty successful, all things considered. They wound up with about a little over 450 pioneers, as they call them, and raised over 40,000 US dollars, US dollar bucks. And kind of with that, they unlocked almost all but one of the unlockable tiers, which just happened to be Blaine's entourage. So just shy of that, but that is also stuff that we've got coming in the vault in the near future, if it isn't already there. Time moves fast.
It sure does.
But yeah, so I think that was, again, just a really cool thing that Mantic did. Really kind of testing the waters too on 3D terrain. I
unfortunately have not gotten any printed yet.
Yeah, I'm still kind of tuning my printer to be able to print it FDM. I've seen some people print it and it looks nice, like even on FDM. So I just need to get my printer better.
Yeah, I've got 2 more prints on my Saturn before I throw the scenery on there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was really cool that they put out all of that. The terrain sets, that was always the thing back in the day. Just couldn't get enough Mantic terrain, and it was always just getting piles and buckets of it, and it was always a little on the pricier side, like of things you might get from the sci-fi side of Mantic. And so it's really cool to see them kind of expand into that and make that available to folks. And again, I think I hope that the takeaway that Mantic has from this is that, hey, the 3D folks are out there and they're ready to buy stuff that you guys are selling. So kudos to Mantic on that front.
When was the last time you went to the Maison Labs website?
Not too long ago.
Have you seen the banner?
Maybe.
This site now belongs to the Rebs.
Yeah.
Seek what they're hiding, join the revolution. Now you're hacking websites? That's not right. Just saying, that's not right. Maison is built on the sacrifice of countless devoted personnel. That's not true at all. False news.
The sacrifice of lots of people. But yeah, might as well talk about the Rebs right now. So, nice segue there. Mantic has obviously...
It only took us 5 years.
Been putting out a whole bunch of great new stuff. We've got a lot of amazing models for the Nightstalkers in the Warpath setting. We've got a whole bunch of the new Asterians and the Matsudan. Great new sculpts and kits for those. So Mantic has put out there, this is right at the beginning of August that they posted this. They're doing a social media campaign to bring the Rebs home. With project #MakeRebsHappen.
Yep. So
they've got 2 goals set. We have YouTube subscribers for their YouTube channel getting to 20,000, or their Facebook and Instagram followers cumulative total 75,000. Now, those sound like big numbers, but we're currently sitting at 16,600 YouTube subscribers. And actually, I don't even know if that number is current anymore. since this campaign started.
16.7.
16.7, not too shabby. And about 70, almost 71,000 between Facebook and Instagram combined.
Instagram has 17,000.
Nice. And Facebook has 51,000.
All right.
Yeah.
They're getting there.
And followers. Like there's likes and followers.
The likes and followers, yeah.
Yeah. So they've got it in here that as soon as we hit either of these goals, the process of bringing the Rebs back to life with brand new hard plastic kits begins. You can do your bit below.
They already have the hard plastic, or they already have it. It's called the Marauders.
Because every click counts.
Every click does count.
Hashtag Rebel Yell, hashtag Deadzone is life, hashtag Mantic Games. So what I'm saying is, everyone do your part. You want the Rebs back. We want the Rebs back. Woo, go Rebs. And get those follows. Get your family on board. Just tell them it's a fun little gaming website, and and that they're supporting a good cause by following along.
Well, I mean, the other side of that is you need to follow along because you have Halo on there. You have all the board games that are coming, like Worms. Dungeon Saga's on their YouTube channel. Kings of War, obviously. So it's not just the sci-fi stuff that they're going to find. There's a ton of stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Mantic has a great lineup of across the board, and there was even the new Labyrinth edition with the anniversary. So there's all sorts of goodies for people to be interested in. So tell them to go follow, and in their own little way, they're helping the cause. Speaking of helping causes and STLs,
we're like all kind of segues tonight.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. Mantic has a great community of gamers and members of the rules committee are a huge contributor to what make Mantic games exceptional.
Yes, they are.
And recently, one of the Kings of War rules committee members, Matt Carmack, he was in a bad motorcycle accident, and to help raise funds to kind of help with his recovery, they have put out a unique STL called the Matt Carmack Fundraiser STL. And it's a little GCPS trooper riding on a mono wheel, armed with a big old spear. Which gives both Kings and sci-fi vibes. I think it's a really cool thing. Mantic's really done these kinds of things in the past for members of the community that are there and help people welcome them into the group. So I'll have the link in the show notes to that STL. It's up on Mantic's Vault Direct category of their online store. So not in the vault, but they have kind of.
If you go to new releases, it's towards the bottom of the page.
Yeah. So check that out and chip in if you'd like. It's also a really cool model, so that's really always a plus. And while you're there, you can also pick up Warmonger Blaine.
Warmonger Blaine.
Because he's also there.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Kind of with that, I think it's time to duck on over to the edge of sanity.
Jack here from Dreadball Commercials. You've seen me. You love me. You know you want me. Here you're listening to Deadzone the podcast with Rick and Bryan. Don't turn that dial or I'm coming for you.
So Rick has mentioned earlier about the Maison Labs website, which is now under the control of the Rebs, making sure everyone is well informed when they visit that particular site of what they're truly in for. But
they haven't given us enough information. I'm just saying.
They're working on it. All that said is that the global campaign for the Summer of Sci-Fi is here. It kicked off about a week ago from this recording.
Yep.
And we're about, as of this recording, at 27.4% progress. We're about a little over a quarter in. And the fight has been fierce. Up to this weekend of the recording, which is just a couple days before the episode drops. Literally, it's the 12th. Which reminds me, I'm gonna have to edit this real quick.
Yeah, you are.
For a little bit, Rebs did control the Deadzone space for a couple days straight, actually. And for those of you that maybe haven't been paying attention or haven't been online or haven't stopped by our Facebook page, we've actually been posting regular updates and reports of the progress on the campaign. That was one thing that I always kind of felt was a little lacking of the previous ones, was kind of just that historical record, so you could kind of see what was going on, what happened, and how fierce the fighting actually was. And so my last little snapshot, I think, might have been Thursday, kind of leading into the weekend. And I'm like, I'm going to let the weekend games come in, and I'll grab the next snapshot. So Monday, the 26th, you'll see the update that has the Plague just pulling ahead of the Rebs in Deadzone.
Nice sender.
And that's between 15.1% towards the Plague, 14.1% for the Rebs. So it is tightly contested, for sure. And then, other factions are no slouches, like the Forge Fathers, the Enforcers, Veermen are all pretty strong. One of my own battle reports was Rebs versus Nightstalkers. I got my first taste of fighting those guys.
How'd that turn out?
I gotta say, strength and depth, or deep strike. Deep strike is not the scenario you want to play against the Nightstalkers.
No, not at all.
It was mean and it was nasty, and it did not go great for the Rebs. And the Nightstalkers seem really strong against range, and kind of coupled with my army not having a whole lot of melee counters. So it was it proved to be really good
either taking out melee or taking out range. You always kind of forget that the other one exists.
Yeah. But I like my list. It's kind of my little themed list that I have going. So
is that the Bad Batch list?
Not the Bad Batch list.
No. That's your Enforcers
list. My Enforcers list. But my Rebs one is the ones that I kind of have related to my narrative, my Rebs little story concept world thing. And so my goal is to get good in whatever scenario. That was always my stance with the Rebs, even when they weren't that great. Is like, I'm gonna figure them out and I'm gonna get good with them. And then I did that with GCPS next. Can't say whether or not I've gotten good with them, but that's beside the point. Anyway, it is hotly contested. They're also tracking, not elite lists, the main themed lists like Nuts and Bolts, the Arius Contract, Surge and Destroy. The Tertia Revolutionaries finally made it on the board.
1.6%.
And really, if they count towards the Reb total, I'm just throwing it out there. 1.6 plus 14 is more than 15.1. So really,
sure.
the Rebs still, I think, are taking charge in Tercia. At least on the small front, as they would say. On the big front, on the large plains of battle, we have in firefight. Maison Labs is still in a. They've stayed pretty strongly in the lead. It was close at the start with them and the Nightstalkers. But Maison has crept into the lead, and they've been holding it for a couple days now. But that said, both the Nightstalkers and the Enforcers are coming up. They are currently tied at 15.7% of the victories. And Maison is sitting at 20, so they're just 5% ahead, which is, can be quite a few battles, but there's plenty of time left in the campaign to get the fight on. A good
strong weekend from the plague is all it'll take.
We can tell who Rick is rooting for.
Well, I mean, let's face it, I'm rooting for Maison Labs, so
yeah. It's either the plague or the Maison Labs for you.
Which they're kind of buddies.
Kind of pal, little friend. It's funny because like the Maison Labs is like in Deadzone is sitting at like 3.8.
Yeah.
And actually kind of surprised that the Matsudan are as low as they're at 2.7, just with them kind of being the new hotness. But maybe people are still getting their forces fielded for that. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on in the campaign. Now, I do want to highlight one neat bit of narrative around this. So Mantic has been posting out a bunch of little story snippets on their under their news category with the Meet the Matsudan story. It came out at the end of July.
It's so good.
And what it ultimately covers is the advent of the Nightstalkers coming into the Warpath universe due to Maison Labs. I think we all knew that was coming.
I'd say it's due to the Asterians.
It was like 100% the Maison Labs.
No, it was the Asterians.
But a big thing about the Nightstalkers is they follow Freddy Krueger rules.
They do.
Which is by knowing about them,
gives them a foothold. Gives them power.
Yes, it strengthens their bond. To the extent where they can become corporeal and kind of enter into the material plane
and manifest right behind you.
There is a pretty fantastic moment
it's my favorite moment.
I'm skip ahead like 3 minutes if you don't want to hear this, because I do want to highlight it for those that don't read it. I think it's a really cool bit of lore. So the Asterians, like kind of sensing that there was a problem, kind of went to the area where the disturbance was, that the Maison Lab first kind of had their Nightstalker portal breach. And which is very Doom 3, if for those that are interested. But so they ran into some Nightstalker critters running around, and as some of you know, like the Asterians, their ciphers are actually piloted remotely by pilots up in ships floating around, and that they have these kind of remote bodies that they control. And the link is one like this neural link, so it's more of it's a stronger connection than just like Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's not Wi-Fi with a controller. It's
a pretty, like, it's an avatar link kind of thing going on. And when the Nightstalkers encountered the Asterians, what they found was they didn't like eating the robots because there was no meat, but they could still sense the consciousness. And what they found is they found the link, and they went back through the link and appeared in those command ships.
that part of the short story about when the Night Doctor appears behind the captain. Oh man, that was exciting.
That was great. Follow and the things that follow really bring to light why the Asterians have now turned to the Matsudan. They're like, what strengths the Matsudan bring that help the Asterians kind of fight this new threat. And I think it's really, really cool, really engaging. It's a really, really solid story that contextualizes a lot of this stuff. So if you haven't read that yet, I will post it in the show notes as well. And make sure you guys check that out because it's a really cool evolution of the Warpath setting.
It's a really good read.
It's a really fun read too. And I'm trying to remember, was that Rob? Yes, Rob Berman, yep. Our good friend.
Not quite all about the goblins, but all about the goblins.
Not quite all about the goblins. I'm sure he'll come back to write about them someday.
I hope so.
Yeah, same here. All right. And so with that, checking our time here, why don't we talk about the Michigan GT? Make sure
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Community Pat, and you're listening to Deadzone, the podcast with Rick and Bryan.
Because you're going to be kind of busy.
Yes, I am. As I often am.
Yes.
So, the Michigan GT. We have a couple of games going on. So, yep. The Michigan GT is, again, September 20th through the 22nd. So, less than a month away now. And make sure you get your pre-registrations in by... before Labor Day if you can. So just a couple days from when this
just a couple days.
Up. But all that goes to help support the games and the prize support that the event provides us. It's a great way to show the interest and the enthusiasm behind the games. And hey, we hope to see you guys there. It's kind of both Rick and mine, kind of our home convention, really.
Much more home convention for me than you.
More home convention for you these days. It's at the Lansing Center in Lansing, Michigan, so right in the middle of the hand, the mitten, if you will.
The hand.
And so we've got 3 events that we are putting on, or I guess I'm putting on officially. And then there's also Kings of War Grand Prix of Michigan is getting put on by Blake Schroed and Mike Carter. They run an excellent Kings of War campaign, 5 games. That's a 2-day, 2,300 points. They have a fun little chariot that you get to put together and up and have on your list just for fun little extra mechanics. The lists that show up to that event have just been astounding. Last year there was like an Oogie Boogie. I think it was a Nightstalker Christmas.
List. It was a nice Nightstalker list. It was amazing.
And yeah, there's been it's every year it's been an amazing event for them, and hope to see that be successful once again. And then that starts Saturday for them and goes into Sunday. Our first game, however, is Firefight, which is going to be starting on Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, check-in's at 3, and we're starting at 3:30. And so it is our classic Firefight game. This will be the regular event. Trying to pull up everything here. So we're at 1,250 points for the total that we're shooting for. We're trying out that one. It's something, continuing to experiment with the points a little bit.
Yep.
But in this case, it's funny how we get to kind of premiere new things at the Michigan GT. It seems every year. Last year we got the books for the command protocols
at the GT. Yeah.
At the GT, and this year we are allowing both the Nightstalkers and the
Asterians. The new Asterians list.
Yep, the beta lists are being allowed this year to get that out and play them and have a good time. I am asking for people to turn in their lists early. The tournament pack does have my email address in it, arcemise@gmail.com. That just kind of helps me keep track of things and kind of do the lists and save some time for later. And so because we run our tournaments just a little bit differently. We're not doing it through the companion app this year. Might be something that we change. It's always something where we award additional tournament points that are kind of outside the norm of what the companion app is configured for. That's something we're constantly in negotiations with. We'd love to see it be more flexible for these other categories, but at the same time, I do really like it as a resource and a tool. I think it's really cool for them to have that historical record of what lists were played, how well they did, and have all that information archived for their reference. That's a great history of the game to look back on.
Yeah, it is.
So we like to do things differently.
Just a little different.
But I do turn in the results, so we at least have that. But yeah, so we're doing three games of this, and we're going to be going until kind of looking at 9 o'clock is around the time we'll do awards. We're looking at 105 minutes for each game, and with a little bit about 10 minutes in between each game just to keep things rolling here. So we don't have time, unfortunately, for a dinner break, so try to be
prepared.
Be prepared. Bring a snack to hold you over. But yeah, so that's Firefight. Obviously, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out ahead of time, and I'll hopefully be able to answer them. Next up on Saturday, we have Deadzone.
Deadzone.
And you love it. It's great. Best game there is. We're doing 175 points.
Because that's what we do.
Yep. Living Legends are allowed, and with being 175, it kind of goes without saying all of the new themed lists are not eligible.
No, they are not.
And but that said, one thing that has changed, and I kind of mentioned it back and forth on the episodes previous, we did knock it down to 3 games. Just for time's sake, it's kind of a combination of time and cost to keep the event in a manageable price range for folks. We were right on the brink, so if we went longer, they were gonna have to bump us up a price tier. But we keeping it at this range, I think, gets us more access to more players and hopefully a really fun event. I think a lot of people.
Always a fun event.
It's always a fun event. People that come to the Michigan GT are always a great set of guys, and we always have a fun time. So that one is event registrations at 11:30. We're overlapping a little bit with the Kings event this year. We were finding we just didn't have the overlap of players to justify us going after them into the dead of night. So we're starting at 11:30 a.m. And kicking off at noon with game 1. Each game then is an hour long, and we have 15-minute break in between. And we're going to be wrapping up right around 4 o'clock. So all that said, it's a fun game. I will note if you go to the Michigan GT store page to purchase the ticket for that, it will still say 4 games instead of 3, but the tournament pack does have the updated number. Yeah, it will only be 3 games. Yeah. And then lastly, we do have our Firefight Annihilation event on Sunday. That is set to start. Again, another little weird hiccup on the store page. It says it starts at 9 p.m.
It starts at 8 a.m.
9 a.m. And
because if you go to convention center at 9 p.m. on Sunday, you're not going to get in.
You're not going to be able to get in. All that said, this is looking to be a fun little event. We're doing 3 games of Firefight Annihilation. We're doing it at 800 points and around 105 minutes or 4 rounds, whichever comes first. And looking to have this just be a fun little event. We're going to see if we can get the numbers to register up in order for it to qualify. If we can't break 4 players, though, unfortunately, with the event will get dropped. It's just the way it is. It makes sense.
The way it works. Yep.
Yep. It frees up space for events that have more folks. But if the more people are interested in Firefight Annihilation, we will definitely put on the event. So we're excited to do it. It's a fun.
Annihilation is so much fun.
And that's why I'm working on putting together a whole bunch of vehicles as fast as I can. But yeah, so that Firefight Annihilation kind of rounds out Sunday and the event as well. So that's what we have going on for the Michigan GT. We hope to see you guys there. Please stop by. Mantic is going to have a presence as well. They have a storefront that they'll be set up at. If you get all the latest and greatest stuff coming out, it'll be hopefully available there. And come by and say hi to the folks. So
the folks,
all the folks. Yeah, that's my segue to go into the hobby table section.
Hobby table.
Hey there, I'm Bryan.
And I'm Rick.
This is Blaine. You are listening to Deadzone, the podcast. Keep listening for more excellent material from these 2 amazing men. Blaine out.
And the hobby table section of the show is, of course, brought to you by Corvus Games Terrain. 3D files that are all kitted out with a good chunk of them kitted out specifically for Deadzone. There's quite a few sets now that include, your typical sci-fi, industrial. There's an infected rock formations, a natural setting, all sorts of sci-fi foliage and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of other great stuff. Like, definitely go on the site. It's a great place, CorvusGamesterrain.com. And if you go there and you want to make a purchase, you can put in our coupon code DZPodcast15 to get 15% off of your order. Additionally, the hobby table is also brought to you by Acid House Terrain. They're a big supporter of the show and of some of the events. They supplied us with a great amount of terrain that really make our
firefight tables.
Yep.
And their Kickstarter is just about finished. I think actually on the end of the week that our episode releases, their epic scale, which will pretty much be working for Epic Warpath, will complete, and that's been an incredibly successful run for him.
Excellent. All right, so we've also been doing as part of the summer sci-fi because we like to stay busy.
Yeah. Slow grow.
The slow grow progress. Yes. As we reported last time, it has been a little challenging for us to keep up with it.
Yes.
But I think both of us have been making a little dent in our backlog of minis. in service of the event and like the campaign and everything going on. So Rick, did you want to go first?
Sure, I'll jump in first. So I created up my firefight list. Now we talked about doing a lower number. I actually went to 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kept building. And I just kept building, and my new stuff arrived, and I was like, oh, I gotta have this stuff. So I ended up building up to 1,000 points of Nightstalkers. I have a ton of scarecrows to paint. Most everything else is done. Scarecrows and a couple butchers is what I have left to paint. That being said, I went back and I repainted the first part of our slow grow because the color scheme just didn't do it for me.
Sure.
So I went with a little bit more of a darker nightmare style theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's about all I've worked on hobby-wise, because it's been kind of a busy month, but we'll get back to that.
Yes. Similarly, busy month on my end, and but that said, I did finish up a good chunk of my enforcers that I had planned. That got me all caught up on the 300 points and a little extra. And it was kind of that fun thing. I broke out my previous set of enforcers, which I think I did in 2020. Because I was living in an apartment at the time.
Yeah.
With my now wife, and that combined with what I wound up painting for the slow grow, like that's actually already at 1,000 points for me. And then of course the one thing I wanted to make sure that I added in to get me to the 600 for the actual slow grow itself was an accuser interceptor, the peacekeeper captain with the phase claws, and then some jet bikes, which I had not all three things that I don't have yet in the list. So and I actually had a good chunk of that assembled, and I got the accuser primed up today, assembled and primed up, and magnetized, so I can swap out the guns and stuff. So that's really cool. It's a really nice kit.
It really is. They're super fast to put together.
Yeah. It's kind of fascinating how well some of these pieces do just like fit. Like you can dry fit most of the model together, and it will actually hold its shape pretty well. And then it's like, okay, and now I glue things. I unassemble it again and glue it back together. So that was a cool piece. I know the jet bikes were a little finicky when I had done them previously, but every now and then you'll get the tricky model kits. I also decided while I was at it to build out more of a force for my own set of Annihilation. I got one of my new mule painted up, or primed up, and got it ready with one of the back cannons. Which I think, does it make it? It's not the Onagar, because I think that's the big missile launcher one.
Missile one.
But the Bronco, I think, might have been. They have all sorts of names for the same vehicle. Different.
Yeah, they do.
The mule with the cannon on the back. That's what it is, and it's neat because like I find like I don't have many mules, but I was looking through my set. I've got 3 unassembled Hornets. Now
that's not bad,
and one assembled one, so I can have a whole flight of them.
Perfect for Annihilation.
Definitely gonna kit one out with those machine guns and make it the Horntail? The gunship one.
The gunship, yep.
Yeah. So looking forward to doing that. I think that'll be a fun project. But for another day, for sure.
For another day.
I gotta try and get these painted up here before the Michigan GT is kind of my goal.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, so that's been the main thrust of what's been on my hobby table. As you mentioned earlier, I've been printing stuff again. I've printed off a whole bunch of sci-fi plants and whatnot.
Yay,
a bunch
plants.
of which was from Corvus Games Terrain. And a couple other ones I just found on Thingiverse. Because I had green filament, so I was like, let's print off some plants. But so then I also go ahead.
So in the process of setting up my office, my old desk, I had 2 brand new spools of PLA. I was like, oh, okay. I'd forgotten all about them.
Yeah,
I should probably use them now.
It's kind of funny. Like I'm probably going to be getting some new spools soon. But I did. Speaking of like other Michigan GT prep, I did. So it's become that thing. Like every year, I'll print off new item crates sets because I did a whole bunch for Adepticon and I left them with the event. They are in the boxes there. They are for that event. So what that meant is I went through my whole stockpile that I would use for other events. So I've got the 5 sets printed off. It should be good if we get 10 players, which is kind of been around our average head count. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And if I need to backfill any extras, I just have the tokens if needed. But I gotta printed all of those in green filament, so it'll be interesting to paint those up and do something with them. Nice. If I feel like it.
Maybe.
They do look
I'm
nicer
sure
when
you'll
they're painted.
Find something. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is our hobby table section. Hope you guys have been having some better success than us with the slow grow. We'd love to see pictures of your models and your progress.
Yes, definitely.
And hear any crazy battle reports going on the summer campaign side.
And get those posted to the website. Yes.
Make sure that all the Reb victories are accounted for.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can leave those out. Well, unless it's a Reb loss. We're good with that.
No. Not good with
that. Well, I am. So that's about a wrap, right? We're done?
Yeah, just about, unless there was anything else you wanted to talk about.
Oh. Well, I guess. I mean, so, yeah. So as of the start of this recording, I will be a couple days into my new job, and that will actually be with Mantic Games. I will be doing sales and whatever else they throw at me, which is crazy to me because, well, I mean, we've been doing the podcast for 5 years. Our excitement for the Warpath universe and Mantic Games hasn't changed.
No.
And to be honest, it hasn't changed in almost 10 years from that first demo that you were at. It's crazy how we went from doing that demo to doing the tournaments at Adepticon to having our own Mantic weekend at one point to jumping onto the GT and going to more conventions. And here we are at 5 years of the podcast. What, one more episode?
One more episode. The anniversary.
It'll be the anniversary of the episode, and I'm now working for Mantic Games. I am super excited. I will definitely be on the show.
Yes.
Next month.
Yes.
But with that, Bryan will be frantically hunting for somebody else to fill. I wouldn't say fill my shoes.
Be another enthusiastic voice that I can bounce my crazy ideas off of. No, it is bittersweet. It's an amazing opportunity both for you and I think for Mantic because for those that don't know, Rick is very good at his job, and I think it'll be incredibly successful. So very excited for you, Rick, and for your family. I know this means sadly that won't be able to be on the podcast as often.
much. Correct.
Well, it won't be that we'll never see you again.
Oh, no, you'll see me. You'll hear from me.
Yeah, yep. But it'll be that thing. There'll be some changes on the show. But
maybe even some more like strategic structure.
Oh no, that
okay, good.
That'll probably never change. But
we're good at that.
Yeah, we're good at that. But lot of love for everything that you brought to the show and the Mantic games in general. I think your enthusiasm for these things is infectious, and people really see that, and that's why you're going to be really great at your new job. So lots of love for you, and wish you all the best. And we are going to be changing things up here.
A little change up
in the next few months. We got a lot of neat things coming forward. So
it's a whole big roller coaster, man.
Oh yeah, it is. But yeah, 5 years.
Yeah,
with the show.
5 years on the podcast, and it's crazy because every episode it's like we've really been recording that long. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's always funny because like the math should be easy for us because we started on episode 100.
You would think.
So it's just counting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll be doing all sorts of neat things together in the far flung future. We'll be bothering Rick for all the latest and greatest things coming down the pipe that we're allowed to talk about.
And try and get other stuff out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure you will.
But with that, I think put a little cap on this episode for now. Hope to see you guys all at the Michigan GT if you can make it. We'd love to see you. Already starting to plan out Adepticon as well. Great things coming ahead for that. And busy.
Busy, and it's not going to slow down.
No. All right. So with that, don't forget
to follow us on all the social media things.
Oh yeah.
You forgot.
No. I was leaving it as an opportunity waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That was my plan.
We'll go with that.
Have a nice night, everybody.
And that's a wrap.
Yippers.
Yeah, Adepticon's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah. I'm debating if I want to leave it in I'm debating if I want to leave it in the tail end of the post episode talk to say, oh yeah, and Brian's not going to be at Adepticon because he's going to be busy with other things.
He's going to be busy doing that other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit important for you to be doing that other thing.
Yeah. It was definitely one of those like, I know the answer is going to be no, but let's weigh it for a second. And the answer is no.
Like, not even. I can't believe you even asked.
I did really.
We're talking about like, that's not happening.
I'm just like, so like Adepticon
hinted at it.
Not planning. Like, it's okay.
Not happening.
Yeah. I was leaving the opening in case she's like, oh no, go to your game and I'll be fine.
Oh yeah. Newborn, sure.
Yeah.